Let's meet a man who sees the potential for art in any piece of wood.
Hello, I'm Brian Markham. I'm a woodturner here at Limberlost Woodturning Studio. I've been on this premises for over 5 years, and welcome to my studio. I started woodturning as a hobby and turned for several years doing it as a hobby, and as time progressed I became more and more involved with woodturning. I started having pieces being taken into galleries and selling, and I decided that a few years ago I would make this my full-time career, and so I have done that. This has become a full-time career. We've been selling my pieces out of this studio for just over 5 years at this point, and it's going very well. So we've turned a hobby into a vocation, and it's super. I enjoy the creativity. When I first started turning, I was limited by the equipment I was using, upgraded my equipment, and now I find that I'm able to express my creativity to its maximum, and I'm thrilled about that. It is a very emotional achievement when I take a very rough piece of wood, work outside with it with a chainsaw to develop it into a size that's workable on my machinery, bring it in here, work with it, and turn it into something that's a thing of beauty. Not only a thing of beauty, but something that people fall in love with when they come in and they want to buy it. And that gives me a great sense of pleasure. My first experience in wood turning began in my grandfather's workshop in Niagara Falls. And when I was a boy, my mother would put me on the train from Union Station in Toronto, and I would travel by myself on the train, and my grandfather would pick me up in Niagara Falls when I arrived. And I was fortunate in that Niagara Falls was always the last stop, so there wasn't any worry about going too far. He had a big shop in his basement and did a lot of wood turning. He used to make spinning wheels and looms and a lot of spindle work, and thoroughly loved it, and would show me his craft when I was young. So the first thing that I made when I was 8 was a baseball bat. And my grandfather had a number of pieces of ash in his shop and allowed me to turn one. He was great in that he allowed me to work trial and error, gave me a few hints, but he never once grabbed the tools and took over. He allowed me to continue on my own until I finished with this, and it was a wonderful experience. I keep this bat beside my lathe, and when I come out every morning, I look at it, think of my grandfather, and work away, make some new pieces. A lot of my wood turning is involved with turning burls. A burl is a growth that occurs on the side of a tree, and it can be a real challenge to turn a burl because they aren't round. They have odd edges, they have bark inclusions in them, but to my mind, once they are turned on the lathe, they are the most beautiful thing in woodworking. Absolutely a thing of beauty. So I would like to show you some right now if you'd like, and follow me. Now I have some burls on this table that have been recently removed from trees, and this will give you an idea what a burl looks like. So you can see the bark on the outside and how it was cut off the side of the tree in this manner with a chainsaw. This is a yellow birch burl. There's a couple more. This is a maple burl, and you can see the figuring that is inside the burl and how beautiful it is, although they certainly look very rough. And just to give you an idea, once I've turned a burl, this is a maple burl, and you can see the beautiful coloring and figuring in the burl and how I was able to maintain the bark edge on the outside. So it's functional, yet a beautiful piece of art. Very satisfying for me to take a piece of wood that has possibly died on a tree and would otherwise be used for firewood. Take that piece of wood and turn it into a thing of beauty. It's satisfying to see the look on people's faces when they come into my showroom and see this wood that would otherwise maybe rot on the forest floor, but become a thing of beauty, something they can use in their home. And that's where the gratification comes from, seeing people on the art tours that come in here and have so much joy in looking at my work and just being able to see the entire process. And that's something they can't experience at a gallery. But when they come into my showroom, they can see the lathe, they can see the process, they can see what the wood looks like at the beginning, as I showed you those rough burls, and then how they become. That's the gratification for me.